back, my dear students. In this presentation, let us go for the second part in molecular basis of inheritance. That is the packaging of DNA helix and the search for genetic material. First, let us learn about the packaging of DNA, that is in prokaryotes. See, I had already told you in the last class that the distance between the two conjugative base pair is around 0.34 nanometer, right? So, when it comes to the DNA, okay, so the length of a DNA in a typical cell or a mammalian cell, if I take, so that will come around 2 to 2.2 meters, okay. So, how this will be packed? First, I had already told you, let's learn about the prokaryotes, then we'll talk about the mammalian cell. So, in case of the prokaryotes, they do not have any definite nucleus, right? And the DNA which is found in the prokaryotes, it is scattered inside the cell and they do not have any proper nucleus, just the DNA will be present like this, it will be scattered in the cell, okay? And the DNA is held together with some kind of a proteins here, and that kind of a protein and that region where these proteins are found is the nucleoid region, okay. And the DNA in this nucleoid is organized into large loops between the proteins. So this is called the protein, and this is a double helix DNA. So this is found like a loop. So usually it will be like this. So like this it is arranged. So this is called packaging in case of prokaryotes. Now let us learn about the packaging of DNA in case of eukaryotes. See here in eukaryotes the packaging is more complex and there is a set of positively charged proteins, and these positively charged proteins are called histones. The positively charged proteins are called histones. These histones are positively charged. Why? Because of the presence of two kind of amino acid called lysines and arginines. Because they are rich in basic amino acids such as lysines and arginine. And histones are organized to form a unit of 8 molecules. See, this is a histone and it is organized into a unit of 8 molecules. So, this is one molecule, second molecule, third, fourth, and similarly backside fourth. Okay, and each comprises of H2A, H2B, H3 and H4. See, these are of two molecules, hence we call it as octamer, and hence the name histone octamer. Okay, histones are organized to form a unit of 8 molecules called histone octamer. The octamer consists of the two molecules of H2A and two molecules of H2B, two molecules of H3 and two molecules of H4. Suppose this is H2A, this is H2B, this is H3 and this is H4. So these are present in two numbers. Here the negatively charged DNA, always DNA is negative charge, so it is wrapped around a positively charged histone octamer, and this is known as nucleosome. The negatively charged DNA is wrapped around the positively charged octamer to form a structure called nucleosome structure. So this is a structure of nucleosome, and this nucleosome contains around 200 base pair of DNA helix. Then see here you can just look at the stretch of a DNA called linker DNA. See, this adjacent octamers or the nucleosomes are connected by a short stretch of a DNA, and this is known as linker DNA. See, this is a one nucleosome, okay, and this is another nucleosome. See here it is having a connection between one to another, that is only because of the presence of the linker DNA. Next, This is again the structure of the nucleosome, how it is connected. And we can also call it as H1 histone. Okay, this linker DNA is also called as H1 histone. And this nucleosome constitutes of the repeating unit of a structure called chromatin. So this consists of a repeating unit of a structure, and this is known as chromatin. This nucleosomes can be seen as a beads on a string, right? So these are nothing else but beads, and this is a string. And coming to the chromatin, this chromatin is packed to form a fibers called chromatin fibers. So these chromatins are packed to form a fiber like structures or fibers called chromatin fibers. Okay, and packaging at the higher level requires the additional set of proteins, and they are called non-histone complex or non-histone chromosomal proteins. And here you can see some portions of the chromatin are loosely coiled and some portions are tightly coiled. This loosely coiled portions are said to be the euchromatin, and it is lightly stained, whereas the densely coiled portion which takes the dark stain is said to be the heterochromatin. So these are the two portions of the chromatin which can be seen. Okay, and this kind of differential condensation of the chromatin that appears lighter and darker is called heteropyknosis. Okay, and here I would like to tell you one thing, that this euchromatin is active when compared to heterochromatin. That means this euchromatin is transcriptionally active. That means it produces the mRNA very fastly when compared to the heterochromatin. Next, let us learn about the transforming principle. See, in the most of the organism, DNA is the genetic material that control hereditary character. And scientists went behind the search for the genetic material. And the very first scientist who tried his best to find out the DNA as genetic material is the Frederick Griffith. So this experiments of Frederick Griffith is known as transforming principle. This transforming principle was discovered in the year 1928. Transformation or transforming principle is behind that transformation. So it is just a sexual reproduction in the bacteria. Okay, so it is just a kind of a sexual reproduction in bacteria where the genetic material or a DNA is transferred from one bacterial cell to another bacterial cell. Okay, and these experiments were based on the Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, so the Streptococcus pneumoniae that causes a pneumonia, that means a respiratory disorder. And here you can see the two different strains of the Streptococcus pneumoniae. The first one is the R strain and second one is the S strain. And the R strain is said to be the non-virulent, which does not cause any pneumonia, and S strain is very dangerous, which caused pneumonia, hence it is called virulent, and R is said to be the non-virulent. Let us look about the Streptococcus pneumoniae in detail. See, I had already told you that there are two different kinds of strain. The one is S strain and second one is R strain. S refers to smooth. That means this S strain bacteria have a mucus polysaccharide coat. That means a capsule will be present and hence it is called a capsulated bacteria. And R refers to rough. Here there is no mucus coat. That means which does not have any mucus coat, and hence we can call it as encapsulated bacteria. And I had already told you, means S strain is virulent and this caused pneumonia in mice, and R strain is non-virulent, which does not causes any pneumonia in case of mice. Now let us look at the Griffith's experiment. What he did first, he introduced the R strain, or he injected the R strain to the mice, and he found that the mouse lived. In the second case, he injected the virulent smooth strain to the mice, and he found out that the mouse died. Now we can tell that this is because the smooth strain caused pneumonia in the mice, and this caused the mouse to die. Right. Next, he just heat killed the smooth strain and injected that heat killed smooth strain to the mice, and he found out that the mouse lived. And in the last case, the rough strain were mixed with the heat killed smooth strain, and he injected the mixture to the mouse, and finally he found that the mouse dies. This heat killed S strain, when it is mixed with R strain and when it is injected to the mice developed pneumonia. As a result of this, the mouse dies. And he recovered the S strain, that is S strain bacteria were found in the dead mice. Then he concluded that the R strain bacteria had shown genetic material, and that has been transformed by the heat killed S strain. That is, the S converted the non-virulent R strain into the S. So this is nothing else but the transforming principle. Okay, so because of this transforming principle, the heat killed S strain bacteria had enabled the R strain to synthesize the smooth polysaccharide, and this became the virulent S strain. That is, R strain is converted into S strain. This transformation of R into S, it is due to the transfer of genetic material. So this transformation of R into S is due to the transfer of the genetic material, but the biochemical nature of the genetic material were not identified from this experiment. So he couldn't able to tell whether it is the DNA, RNA or a protein. Now let us go for the biochemical characterization of transforming principle. The Griffith couldn't able to prove which one is the genetic material. He just told that the transformation is due to the transfer of genetic material. Now, three scientists, Oswald Avery, Colin MacLeod and McCarthy, from the year 1933 to 1944, worked out on the biochemical characterization of transforming principle. Prior to their work, the genetic material was thought to be the protein, not even RNA or DNA. See, they just worked to determine the biochemical nature of the transforming principle of Griffith experiment. Here, they purified the biomolecules, that is, the proteins, DNA and RNA, from the heat-killed S strains. That means they removed the lipids, they removed the sugars. Why they did like this is just to see which one could transform the live R into the S strain. Then they took the mixture in three different test tubes. In the first test tube, they added proteinase enzyme. This enzyme were added to digest the protein so that no protein can be seen in this mixture. When this R cells are introduced, that means the R live strains are introduced to this mixture, which contains just a heat killer S cells. They found out the transformation and the S cell appeared in the beaker. Next, in the second case, they added the RNase enzyme to the same mixture so that the RNase digests the RNA so that no RNA can be seen in this test tube, and they introduced the live R cells to the test tube containing the heat killer S cell. Here also they found out the S cells, that is transformation. In the third case, they added the DNase enzyme which digested the DNA so that there will be no DNA in a mixture. When the live R strain is added to the mixture, you can see there is no S cells. That means there is no transformation. Now let's go for the conclusion. These three scientists discovered that the DNA alone from S bacteria caused the R bacteria to become transformed. That is, the DNA is making the non-virulent R into the S. The transformation is due to the DNA. So, they concluded that the DNA is a genetic material. See here, in the first case, when they added protein of the heat killer S strain is not a genetic material. And in the second case, the RNA of the heat killer S strain is not a genetic material. So, there is a transformation. And here in the third case, the DNA of the heat killer S strain is a genetic material because the DNA digested with the DNase when it is mixed with the R strain. This enabled them to transform the R into S. Hence, the DNA is found to be the genetic material. So, this is biochemical characterization of transforming principle. Hope you understood. Thank you for listening.